we've sprinkled it in moments that I felt like this feels like a moment that I would be like, God, like yelling.
Okay, I am really excited to be here today. This is so fun for me and such a privilege. So my name is Amy Oster-Pollock, and I have the privilege of interviewing and chatting with Wes Nelson today. He is Midian Worship, which is an amazing band. You already know them, and if you don't, you need to look into them. But soon it's coming out. What's the date of that?
Yeah, so April 25th,
Okay.
everything will come out, except for a couple of the videos. They'll be kind of staggered throughout the next few months, just to kind of keep building the storyline.
Can you tell me a little bit about how this album came about?
Yeah, for sure. Funny enough, well, not funny enough, but I have a counselor, so I talk to somebody pretty frequently, and we were on the talk of kind of feeling like I was missing out on a lot of things that God had for me, and through the conversation, we talked about how first I feel God's presence, right, and I kind of felt I explained how sometimes when you stand in a shower, right, and you feel the water like kind of hit your body and roll down, and I said when I feel the presence of God in its full being or essence, it feels like that. And she said, well, then let me tell you that I believe that the problem that you're having right now is that you're still wearing your clothes. You're still wearing like all the stuff that God wants you to actually take off. He wants you to be pure. He wants you to be naked. He wants you to be vulnerable. And he doesn't want you to be holding that, because what he has for you is to clean you, is to help you. And I just was kind of blown away, because originally this album was going to be called Wilderness.
Okay.
And it was all kind of about that sort of idea of being lost and trying to figure it out. And it really pivoted into this personal kind of life story kind of thing of things in the past, things in the present, and things that will be in the future that are inevitable, right, are wrestling with God and life, right? So so the coat I wear is definitely embodies that premise, or that idea of this idea of keeping something on that we were not really meant to have on us, because God wants to have us whole and without limitations.
That's amazing. That's fantastic. And I think that those representations of, you literally have the coat on.
Yeah.
You are wearing the coat.
Well, I'm a visual person too, this was really helpful. Like it says failure, and it says unworthy. There's death, defeat, and pain. There's loss. There's alone. Words that for me have really been a huge part in my story of walking with God and overcoming things that I have felt about myself. And so that's been huge. And so representing it visually, I think, has been really helpful, not just for me and my healing, but maybe for someone else that maybe feels the same way. Our first album, More of You, was more of just like let's write a couple of songs that could be used at church and and stuff like that. It's just figuring out a lot of the things, and after that experience, I felt like I was ready to really kind of open myself up and share some of the depths of what I think is real. And not that praising God is not real. It's just I think that this topic of even lament that the album has, it definitely pours into this realness of we're not here to be fake. We're not here to put on a persona, but we're here to just be honest and raw. And I think you definitely feel that through the album.
Yeah, I do, for sure. And it's almost like this breath of fresh air, right? Because like you said in one of the songs, it's like sometimes it's really hard to show up and just praise and worship, because life is so difficult and there's so many things that we're walking through. And so to have kind of these songs that can meet us in our lament, meet us in our grief, it's another way of expressing that. And it's really neat, I think, when you can come together as a group and you don't even have to, share about what we're all going through, but just to have these words that are put onto paper and have these words that are put to song, that if we can't sing it, but we can meet those songs with our lament, that's such a gift to us as your audience to have songs like that.
Yeah, and talking about, like, because we're called Midian Worship, right? And I think originally we were like, oh, we're just going to sing other people's songs and just have worship nights. And I was just kind of like, that's great, but I felt like God had something that He'd given me, and it was things to share and kind of push a little bit of the boundaries of what worship is. And one of our songs on there, This Is Worship, kind of really spends a lot of time in that, of really focusing in on what worship to God actually is. We can have a party, we can have the hoopla, and that's great.
Right.
We praise God for who He is, absolutely.
Yeah.
But there is a point where, acknowledging and being truthful to where we're at as His creation, and then recognizing our need for Him, that's healthy, and it helps us get better mentally, physically, spiritually, because it brings reality into the picture.
100%. It's so refreshing to hear that. Okay, so what is the album about? I guess we did already kind of talk about this.
Yeah.
And why is it so important? If there's anything that we already kind of covered this. Is there anything else in that question that you kind of want to share?
Yeah, I think just the continuation of the theme of lament, right? I think it's through the Psalms we see, David and even Solomon kind of wrestle at times, good and bad, right? There's moments where it's triumphant, it's like, God, you're amazing, and then there's times where it's like, God, where the heck are you? I feel like so distant, and those are just as much real worship times as the other times, and I remember just reading through the lament Psalms, and just really it struck a chord with me, and just knowing that, times are tough, and acknowledging that with God, it's a really beautiful moment that He wants to have with us. He doesn't want us to fake it. He doesn't want us to ignore that. He wants to work through that with us. And allowing Him to do that is really, really crucial. And so, the very first song, Somewhere to Start, it starts off with Psalm 13.
Yeah.
And just like a reading of that. And it's very different, very kind of, in the studio we were kind of tossing and turning how we want to portray this, and I just said I just want people to jump in deep into the deep end with us right off the bat and go, okay, we're going somewhere, and then it kicks into the coat I wear and it takes you on this journey, right? So I think that was really important, to bring the listener in to where we're going.
Do you have any songs that are really important to you in this album? I know they all are. They're all amazing.
Yeah, I think that there's some that are. The first song I wrote was We Cry Out, and that was kind of on the tail end of the More View cycle. And we played that during our tour and things like that. And I think that kind of was the start of the realizing what I needed to do next. And even now, like, my son sings it all the time, and I'm just reminded that, like, it's a song that's still present, and I still need to hear myself, even though I've written it. And so that song has always been really important. As far as songs that I love, I love them all. Pain in the Offering was a really hard one to do. That was a really harsh, raw moment of surrender and vulnerability. My wife Felicia, she was a part of a lot of the producing of it, which just means that she would sit in the room and kind of critique or give direction to certain things. And she knew my heart and she knew what I was wanting. And so there was times where she's like, "No, you need to push here, and you need to change this or change that." And it was really helpful, and I think really was how the song actually came out, in that real raw vulnerability. And so it was really important. There's a couple of little things that we've added. There is a little bit of screaming, but it's not at the foreface, it's in the back.
Tell me about that. Like, why is that? Is that the style you want to go, or is that just your expression of sometimes this is how I feel, this needs to get out, this is the only way it can get out?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of times where we're just kind of feel stuck and we just want to yell, we just want to scream, and that's a real emotion.
We just want to break things and just be mad.
And I don't think that within that there's sin in there. I think that's just raw honesty. Now you can sin from that, but
right.
I think it was a way for me to add a texture and add another element to the songs.
Yeah.
And it's not in every song, but we've sprinkled it in moments that I felt like this feels like a moment that I would be like, God, like yelling.
Mm-hmm.
Let Go, Let Me. That song, it's a bit fun. It has that kind of upbeat vibe.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of that is my walk of suicide. And the bridge talks a lot about that, of me, God saying, just don't let go. Don't let the voice in your head take you out, kind of thing. And there is a scream in there that just kind of emphasizes almost like God's trying to get through to me. And that's how I felt it. That's how I took it in that experience. And then we end our album, which is probably with one of my favorite songs, is My Lament.
Yeah, mine too.
And when I was younger, I had experienced a season of suicidal thoughts, and a few attempts. And there was a song called Depths 2 by Silent Planet. And they're a heavier band, but what he did was he wrote a song that brought you through an experience musically, that ended up you feeling like after that song, you felt like you went through this massive life journey. And I always connected with that, and I thought, you know what, I want to leave people with that type of journey. And so I kind of constructed a song that I wrote just of a little bit different lyrics, different feel, different tuning, guitar wise, and really just kind of let the song have breath and breathe. There's moments where you're just kind of left, and it feels like almost you're floating a little bit.
I'm gonna take a minute to read this.
Sure. Absolutely.
Because it is so good. It was my very favorite song. I have a few favorites, but this was my very favorite. I felt so drawn to it. I've been through lots of things, and every single person can say that that's watching this. I felt this way. I felt alone. I felt lost. I felt the pain. Crying out to God, where are you? And this is just such an important and powerful song. So I want to read the lyrics of this. So it's called My Lament by Wes Nelson. Why am I here? What does it all mean? The people and places and all of the odd spaces. Why am I here? What does it all mean? Life feels like a shadow that keeps chasing me down. And then the chorus says, does it get easy, or is it all meant to shove me down till all I feel is loneliness? Does it get easy, or is it just all a lie? Everyone waiting around till they die. Wow, yeah, that hits home. Will you let me hear your voice? Let me feel that you're near. Will you show yourself and let me know that you're near? Why are we here? What does it all mean? The people and places and all the odd spaces. And then that bridge again. Will you let me hear your voice? Let me feel that you are near. Will you show yourself and let me know that you are near?
I feel like that's a lot of our conversations sometimes with God, whether we're kind of upset or frustrated in our circumstance.
Yeah.
And for me, it wasn't a matter of I'm mad at God, and so He can kick rocks. It was more of like, I'm frustrated in this moment because I don't understand, and I need you to help me. I'm not giving up on this relationship. I'm not walking away, but I need some help in this. And like the psalmist, he would continue to return back to God. There's only a few psalms that actually end in sorrow, but most of the time it was at the very end, just like in the 13th psalm at the beginning of the album. He ends with, God, you're good. You give life, and you're amazing, and despite all of what I'm feeling.
And there's that really kind of important thing, right? Where we're like, we feel all these things, but we're so thankful that we have a God that we can take it to. So it's like we turn to Him and we can be honest about how we're feeling, but then at the same time, we can ask Him for what we need, and we can ask Him for, take this cup from me, right? Legitimately, but we also trust in the end. We trust that you are good. I do want to ask you a few questions. You have music videos.
Yep.
When are they coming out?
Yep. So the first one is for We Cry Out, and that is coming out on Good Friday. So depending on when this comes out, it might already be out.
Right.
So that's the start of the story. And it just follows the journey, basically, kind of like of myself, of just kind of, the ups and downs of figuring out life, and you'll kind of see myself get kind of looking and running and being kind of chased and kind of looking for something. We're still finishing a couple of videos, and I don't know how it will all end. It's still being kind of worked out, but I hope that people will be able to somewhat connect with the emotion and just the rawness of it. So there's that one, and then it goes in Devil's Gotta Run, which has been a huge, surprising success.
Amazing.
So that's been really, really cool. And then The Coat I Wear will be up next, and that's kind of the line. And then we have a couple others that we're going to do and put out. Show Me is already out. It's not really a part of the storyline, but it's just one that I also just felt really, really close to and wanted to put it out. So
it's so exciting.
Yeah.
It's like all these different aspects of it are coming together, and you're giving us visuals, and you're giving us like just so many different things, and we appreciate that. We love that. What is your hope for this project, Wes?
I've always struggled with being able to articulate my thoughts and my feelings. Even from a young boy, like I was never able to tell someone how I'm immediately feeling. And when I started to find music and started to find different types of music, it was sometimes able to help me, not necessarily give me words, but give me sounds and give me feelings and kind of match things. When I was angry, I listen to some heavy metal, or if I was even if I was happy, right, then it's just that energy of it. I hope that there's someone that can go, I don't know if these are the right words, but this is what I'm feeling musically or instrumentally, or they can connect on that level and hopefully give them words to say.
Okay, and then are you playing live? Because I know you did tour was it in the summer?
It was in January.
January.
We did have one in the summer too. No, we did have one in the summer too.
Okay.
And so, I think looking forward, we're hoping to, we're talking with a couple of organizations to set up a tour in the fall. So I hope that can get figured out, but we do have some smaller stuff that we're playing, and, I obviously can't replicate everything on the album, so I call a bunch of friends to come and play with and to do that. So
I'm really excited for the release of this, and for people to be able to have these lament songs, and for people to be able to journey with you with the honest and the rawness of who you are and how you put that out there for us. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you for taking your time to ask me some questions.
Happy to, anytime.